So guys, welcome back to another video, and this is another soccer in the US type video, and it's been a few weeks and I want to apologise. I've been inconsistent, especially on the second channel with uploads recently, so I want to apologise for that. I'm going to get back onto the consistencies like usual, and this one is The Year That Broke US Soccer, the video title, by Copa90. I know they like Copa90 from my knowledge and from what I've seen. I used to watch them quite a lot when I was younger. They make really good sort of documentary type videos on sports or on football / soccer in European countries, in Asian countries, in the US, like in South American, North American countries, just everywhere in the world. They make these really interesting documentaries, and I'm assuming this is going to be this is going to be involving like how when the US didn't qualify for the World Cup, and I'm intrigued to see the perspective like of US fans, soccer fans, with their reactions to it, because I think I've said this before, but like when I first started doing my sport reactions, I didn't realise and expect the amount of people to enjoy this sport from the US as people, I don't know how to say it, as there was basically. Like I didn't realise, I used to just think in the US 99% of people hated the sport, but that isn't true. Obviously there's the people who hate the sport, but people dislike soccer around the world, even in the UK. Like so many people don't even like the sport. It's just, yeah, I just had the sort of the thoughts that people weren't really interested in this sport from the US, but how wrong I was. And there's so many of you guys who enjoy these reactions, and it actually makes me really happy. Again, I didn't realise this, but that's my ignorance, but that's also the beauty of this channel, like finding out the love for the sport that you guys also have. And yeah, without chatting too much, it's already quite a long intro, 2 minutes long. Let's get into this. I'm intrigued to see the reactions from people from the US when this happened, because I've not really seen anything really linked to it. So yeah, let's just get into this and see what's in this video, man. Jeez, that's loud. That is very loud. I apologise for that. I apologise.
If the US doesn't score, they're out of the World Cup. This is unreal.
Oh, it's the perspective of them actually in the stadium.
Call not just for the U.S. supporters and the U.S. fans, but U.S. soccer itself to do better. You need to wake up.
In a contradictory year of dizzying highs and plunging lows, an American teenager became a global star while an ugly legal battle raged in the US court. Professional clubs set incredible attendance records while others folded. And the United States prepared to bid for a World Cup 8 years from now, but failed to qualify for the one this summer. These events revealed both the true instability and soaring potential of American soccer, and created a high-stakes power struggle for the soul of the game in our country, moving into 2018 and beyond.
I know this is irrelevant.
To understand how we got here,
but I would love to go to the World Cup in the US, Canada, and Mexico in 2026. I would love that, man. I would love that. I mean, who knows? Who knows? If I could, I definitely would 100%.
We have to go back to 2011, when Jurgen Klinsmann was introduced as manager of the U.S. national team. At the time, Klinsmann's hiring signaled a new era of ambition for the U.S. men's national team, daring fans to dream of a World Cup trophy in the not-so-distant future. The confidence resonated with fans who began to grow the game at both the club and country level. But after 5 years, that World Cup dream was never fulfilled, and instead, Klinsmann left behind a trail of unremarkable performances, no true playing style, and a perilous qualifying situation when he was fired in late 2016. So as the game was growing in popularity, it was also developing systemic and fundamental issues at the highest levels. Screams for a promotion and relegation system, the battle between NASL and USL for who the true second division is, the women's team still battling for equality with the men, and now a World Cup without the US. All of which culminated in 2017, the most inconceivable year in American soccer. On March 3rd, Major League Soccer kicked off its 22nd season and welcomed 2 new teams into the league, Minnesota United and Atlanta United. Atlanta drew 55,000 fans in its first game, a record number, and continued to set attendance records all season. 1 week later, Christian Pulisic scored a goal against Benfica in the Champions League. One of many high-profile moments for the Dortmund player, who became a true global superstar, an unprecedented status for an American. In April, a joint bid was announced between the US, Mexican, and Canadian federations to host the 2026 World Cup. In June, the U20 youth national team advanced to the quarterfinals of the U20 World Cup.
Oh, wow.
In July, the US men's national team won its first Gold Cup since 2013. In August, USL side FC Cincinnati made a dream run to the US Open Cup semifinals, breaking several attendance records along the way.
It's been absolutely unreal.
So it's growing for sure.
The amount of people that have come out for our games.
On September 5th, U.S. Soccer stripped the North American Soccer League of its Division II status, kicking off a contentious legal battle. 20 days later, the NASL filed a federal antitrust lawsuit against U.S. Soccer. On October 4th, U.S. Soccer released a revised list of 32 potential host cities for the 2026 World Cup bid. 6 days later, they lost to Trinidad and Tobago, eliminating the U.S. from World Cup qualifying.
I never saw it coming. It's crushing, man. Everything we've been working for and hoping for, done now. It's tough, man.
It's a grueling sport, man. It really is.
In the fallout of the loss, players, coaches, and officials came under fire, and while head coach Bruce Arena stepped down, USSF President Sunil Gulati refused to do so, attempting to continue his 11-year tenure. 3 days later, on October 16th, news broke that Columbus Crew owner Anthony Precor was looking to move his team to Austin, Texas. Reaction was fierce and swift, and against the backdrop of a playoff run, the Save the Crew movement was born.
I didn't even know about this.
The fact that there are so many people willing to put themselves out there for a team that they don't even root for is amazing.
This anti-MLS backlash compounded the shade already being thrown at the highest levels of American soccer, and another avenue for change arose, the USSF presidential election. Gulati's unwillingness to readily step down meant that challengers had to step up, and October 20th, former national team star Eric Winalda threw his hat into the ring. On November 5th, the Second Court of U.S. Appeals denied the NASL's injunction, essentially ruling in favor of U.S. soccer and throwing the NASL's survival into jeopardy.
I imagine we see the end of the NASL and unfortunately, maybe a number of their clubs.
On November 6th, NBC sports analyst and former pro Kyle Martino entered the USSF presidential race. In mid-November,
I see him quite a lot. I know what channel is it? When I watch streams, because basically in the UK we can't watch Premier League games at 3 o'clock on Saturdays. It's a stupid rule that we have, so no TV shows it. So I go on the internet and look at games on sites, and he's always the guy. I don't know what's the channel called? Something BC. It's not ABC, is it? Nah, it's not. NBC, I think it is. And I see him quite a lot, and I actually like him. He speaks a lot. Like, he seems to know a lot about the sport, to be fair.
The NASL and USL
good
finals
knowledge
were
on the
held
sport.
a day apart. The San Francisco Deltas beat the New York Cosmos in the NASL, and Louisville City beat Swope Park Rangers for the USL title. While Louisville will defend their trophy in 2018, the NASL champion Deltas folded days later.
Wow.
On December 4th, Sunil Gulati formally withdrew from the USSF presidential race. The next day, Kathy Carter, the president of SUM, the marketing arm of Major League Soccer, emerged from seemingly nowhere as a viable candidate for the presidency. And 2 days later, Hope Solo also announced her candidacy. 4 days after that, Toronto FC beat Seattle Sounders in MLS Cup, securing their first ever treble and setting new standards of excellence for how to run a club in MLS. A week later, an appeals hearing was held in the NASL vs. USSF lawsuit, a last-ditch attempt for the NASL to save their league. And on December 20th, Nashville was awarded an MLS
now in
expansion.
the league, of course.
The events of 2017 have made 2018 pivotal. The USSF presidential election will be held in February, and the winner will play a huge role in deciding this country's sporting future. Another MLS expansion team, Los Angeles FC, will launch its inaugural season in March. As it awaits the court's decision, the NASL will shift to an international calendar and begin play in the fall. And while the rest of the world will turn their eyes to Russia this summer, the US will still have to grapple with its failure. But failure is just an opportunity to come back even stronger. With an official World Cup bid on the horizon and more Americans than ever falling in love with the game, we have a real shot at getting this right. By embracing the things that give us hope and working to eliminate the infighting and egos that plague our game at the highest level, we can bring our game back.
I enjoyed this, man. I enjoyed this. I thought it was going to be more of the perspective of the fans of like when the day it happened, but it was an interesting like sort of timeline type video. Only thing is, it's quite outdated. It's 2.5, nearly 3 years old, so a lot of the stuff has probably like been sorted out, and it's like just all this sort of stuff. But I enjoyed it. I do enjoy this type of stuff, to be fair. Youth soccer in the US is an absolute joke. If you aren't rich, you don't play in the Premier Division. If you don't play in the Premier Division, you don't get scouted by D1 colleges. If you don't play for a D1 college, you don't go pro. I'm sorry, but anyone who thought USA would win the World Cup because they appointed Klinsmann needs to get their head checked. That's a crazy sort of objective to have for someone. That's kind of wild, you know. I didn't even know that was. Well, they did mention it, so but that's a wild thing to have. So finally, the narrator here says that they genuinely hope the World Cup soon. Shows how clueless even American soccer fans are difficulty of winning the tournament. Mate, for the same with the UK and England though, we all have the same kind of wishes. And although we're further down the timeline, England ain't winning the World Cup anytime soon, man. And that makes me so sad. It makes me so sad. To be fair though, this Pulisic global superstar, he's actually really like, I mean he was quality back then, but he's next level now, to be fair. MLS is where European football stars go to die. Let's be honest, the USA will not be missed at the Summer's World Cup. Bro, this comment section are going nuts. US men's soccer won a World Cup. But who is the US coach now? I don't actually know who it is. Wait. US national team. See, I've never even heard of him. Greg Berhalter. Never heard of him, but I actually want to search this up. Yeah, US national team. I want to see just a squad because I know a lot of their players, but I want to see like their roster or their squad currently, like in their latest squad. So they got. I know Bill Hammond because of FIFA. I don't actually know Sean Johnson. Not much about him. Wait, is this even the team? Current squad. A lot of these players. So a lot of these players haven't actually been called up recently. Christian Pulisic, obviously he's a baller. Weston McKennie, quality player, and he's young as hell as well. You've got Brooks, he's a solid centre back. Tim Ream, he's a Premier League centre back, to be fair. Another Premier League player. Guzan, I know he's 36 now. He's quite old. I don't know who is their first main keeper then. Is it Brad Guzan or is it someone like Bill Hammond or Sean Johnson then? Then you've got Aaron Long. I know he's a decent player. So you've got a good group of players. Zardes, I know he's a FIFA legend, to be fair. But you've got like a good core, and you've got a lot of youngsters coming through as well. Like there is a positive. Wait, you got Dest as well, who's not even here actually. Oh no, he is there. Sorry, I actually missed him. And yeah, you've got a lot of like these players. And Tyler Boyd as well. I know he's a decent player, to be fair, from what I've seen. I don't know much about him, but from what I've seen, he's a decent player. Morris, wasn't he the player that like went off that one season? He had like a really good breakthrough season, yeah, 34-12. And I guess he got injured here, but he's obviously back to performing pretty decently. So I mean, yeah, you've got the core of the youngsters, and you've got some sort of older players who can maybe help, like, I don't even know what the right word is, help them settle, but at the same time, you probably don't even need that. Someone like Brad Guzan telling Pulisic isn't needed, because at the end of the day, Pulisic is the guy he's the guy right now, isn't he? He's just the main guy. And I guess he's the person who's sort of helping the younger generation and inspiring them for the sport, I guess you could say. But it's an interesting look, and it is an interesting just sort of thing to sort of learn about. And I love seeing these kinds of stories and seeing the sport grow in the US. But again, if you are from the US, let me know like how it's going now, because this video is a few years old, so it's a bit out of date. Because yeah, I do just find this stuff fascinating, man. But hopefully you guys enjoy this reaction. Suggest more things involving the MLS or US soccer in the comments. I would love to see some more videos. It's been quite a few days since I have, and I want to get more consistent with this kind of stuff. But again, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and until next time, like, subscribe, and peace.